This portion of Lost in America, the story of election 2016, is made possible by.
When it comes to buying and selling real estate in San Diego, put your trust in local area experts Koshal Patel and George Verdugo, who have over 20 years of experience and more than $300 million in sales. Click on the link in the description below.
Fin Bay Lodge. Nestled in Rivers Inlet, British Columbia, Fin Bay Lodge is the sport fishing adventure you've been waiting for. Log on to finbaylodge.com to book a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Additional support has been provided by
friends of the Jim Heath channel, like you. Please subscribe to the Jim Heath channel and like this video. Your continued friendship will guarantee future documentaries and features.
Thank you for your support.
Remembering Doris Jean Heath and her love of family and country.
Jim, what are we looking at right now? What are you saying?
Yeah. Yes, Aaron, I am off camera right now because I want to show you this. We've turned the camera around, panning around to the back of the arena. This is becoming violent. There is pushing and shoving going on inside this arena. People are throwing objects. Police are now escorting some protesters. We don't know if they're Trump supporters or protesters being led out of this arena right now. But just moments ago, a very large crowd of supporters, protesters, media, it was simply rocking back and forth.
The mood was toxic from the beginning. 6,000 Donald Trump supporters had traveled to Chicago to rally for the GOP frontrunner. But moments before the rally was set to begin, a Trump official appeared on stage and abruptly told the crowd that the event was off.
Mr. Trump just arrived in Chicago and after meeting with law enforcement has determined that for the safety of all the tens of thousands of people that have gathered in and around the arena, tonight's rally will be postponed.
Trump supporters were shocked. The protesters erupted in cheers, and that was the exact moment when the violence began. A campaign rally turned into an angry scrum.
The security does not have a handle on the situation here. It is total chaos.
Anger boiled over at this Donald Trump rally in Chicago. Clashes between protesters and supporters of Trump led to 5 arrests and a police officer bloodied. Critics say Trump has created a volatile and explosive environment at his rallies and pours gasoline on it every chance he gets.
So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees, I promise. And they said that wasn't politically correct. Who cares? We all have a weight problem. Yeah, you can get them out. Yeah, get them out. Get them the hell out of here. Get them out of here. Get out. Get them out of here. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Following the news that former KKK leader David Duke was supporting Donald Trump, a group of Black Lives Matter protesters interrupted a Trump rally in Virginia. A Time magazine photographer tried to leave the press area to shoot the protesters as they were escorted from the venue. He was then thrown to the ground by a Secret Service agent.
Lie detectors, you put the Bible down, then you lie.
Oh!
We don't know who he is, but we know he's not acting like an American. The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
He thinks he's cute. He's a disgusting guy.
Trump's populism was increasingly seen as coupled with a strongman mentality. Unlike the chaos of 1968, where there were violent protests over a military draft and bodies returning from Vietnam, political assassinations, and weakened political leadership, the truth was in the spring of 2016, Donald Trump was turning violence into entertainment and entertainment into votes.
I will be Donald Trump's most loyal advocate to make sure his nominees go to the Supreme Court.
After David Duke, a member of the American Nazi Party and former Grand Wizard of the KKK, endorsed him, Trump denied knowing him.
You know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
But that wasn't true. 2 decades earlier, he regularly denounced Duke.
Well, you've got David Duke just joined. A bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
It was another example of the unsavory aspect of his 2016 campaign.
A small and vocal number of white supremacists, Klansmen, neo-Nazis, they're very vocal. And they attach themselves to Trump.
Trump blamed thugs and Bernie Sanders supporters for the unrest.
Look, it's a Bernie person. It's a Bernie. Hello, Bernie. Hey, Bernie, get your people in line, Bernie.
Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and Trump's remaining GOP opponents denounced him for stirring the violence.
Donald Trump is a pathological liar.
If you see bigotry, you should oppose it. If you see violence, you should condemn it.
The job of a true leader is not to stoke people's anger.
Donald Trump has created a toxic environment. Encouraging violence is wrong.
The Republican Party, which after Mitt Romney's defeat in 2012 committed to creating a bigger tent coalition, was shifting quickly away from Ronald Reagan, who in 1984 offered a warning to the GOP, which even then was increasingly tiptoeing with the far-right fringes.
We don't lump people by groups or special interests, and let me add, in the party of Lincoln, there is no room for intolerance, and not even a small corner for anti-Semitism or bigotry of any kind. Many people are welcome in our house, but not the bigots.
But 30 years later, Trump had chosen to remain silent as white nationalists infiltrated his movement, and he encouraged violence with his rhetoric.
Get the fuck out of here! Our country, motherfucker! Our country! Proud fucking American! Made in USA, bitch! Made in fucking USA! Don't fucking cook my burrito, bitch! Don't fucking make my tortilla, motherfucker! And build that fucking wall for me! Trump! I love Trump!
A protester rushed at Trump at a rally in Ohio the day following the Chicago chaos. The Secret Service surrounded the candidate, who seemed unfazed by the anger he was stirring. As the rhetorical ratchet was cranked up, many voters across the country were left with the feeling that they were lost in America. As Air Force One touched down in Havana, President Barack Obama marked a historic moment as the first sitting U.S. president to visit Cuba since 1928. The goal, to normalize relations with the communist nation just 400 miles from Florida. But back home, Democrats were engaged in a fierce battle to become Obama's successor.
Alabama, there she is in the state of Alabama, 78-19 over Bernie Sanders. In the state of Georgia, 72-28, more than half the voters in Georgia African American. Tennessee, same story, 63-35, Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. This was a big one in Texas. Hillary Clinton also beating Bernie Sanders. You see that number, 68-31, strong Hispanic vote there as well. Home state of Arkansas, lived there for 18 years. Hillary Clinton 69 over 27 for Bernie Sanders. And in that pivotal swing state of Virginia, 64 Hillary Clinton, 35 Bernie Sanders.
The contest between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders seemed over on the night of Super Tuesday, when Clinton won most of the delegates, fueled by strong African American support.
I know we've got work to do, but that work is not to make America great again. America never stopped being great. We have to make America whole. We have to fill in what's been hollowed out.
Despite Clinton's lead in delegates, Sanders vowed to fight on to Michigan. It was there that she received her first ominous warning. She had a serious problem with progressives within the blue firewall states.
We just had the best year that the auto industry has had in a long time. I voted to save the auto industry. He voted against the money that ended up saving the auto industry. I think that is a pretty big difference.
Well, if you are talking about the Wall Street bailout, where some of your friends destroyed this economy.
You know.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Let him respond.
If you're going to talk, tell the whole story, Senator
Let
Sanders.
me tell my story, you tell yours.
I will.
Your story is for voting for every disastrous trade agreement and voting for corporate America.
Well, you talk about corporate greed. The gun manufacturers sell guns to make as much money as they can make.
Senator Sanders.
You know, that essentially your position is there should not be any guns in America, period.
That is,
now, I
that is
understand.
like the NRA position.
Can I finish, please? All right? And one of us has a super PAC. One of us has raised $15 million from Wall Street for that super PAC. One of us has given speeches on Wall Street for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I kind of think if you get paid a couple of $100,000 for a speech, must be a great speech. I think we should release it and let the American people see what that transcript was.
And I have said, and I will say again, I'll be happy to release anything I have as long as everybody else does too.
I want everybody else to release it. While I'm your Democratic opponent, I release it. Here it is. There ain't nothing. I don't give speeches to Wall Street.
Bernie Sanders is the winner in the Michigan Democratic primary. This is an upset. None of the polls going in thought he was going to win. The two campaigns thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. Bernie Sanders, though, emerges as the winner in the Michigan Democratic primary.
Stunning is the word for it. Just as Hillary Clinton had been hoping to focus on the general election, Michigan voters have said not so fast.
Sanders 50 to 48%. Upset in Michigan defied predictions. Polls had suggested Clinton would win easily.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the people of Michigan who kind of repudiated the polls that had us 20, 25 points down a few days ago, who repudiated the pundits who said that Bernie Sanders was not going anywhere.
Sanders' victory over Clinton in Michigan highlighted a polling problem that would linger throughout the year. His unexpected win was attributed to strong support from younger and white working-class voters who were underrepresented in the polling data. Sanders' victory challenged the perception of Clinton's inevitability.
It's true, we had no idea that we would have this kind of upset. We knew that we were going to fight based on integrity, based on principle. We know that we're in a moment where we got a neo-fascist in the making with Trump. We're trying to bring neoliberalism to a close. We got a neo-populist, a genuine populist in Sanders, and Hillary Clinton is a neoliberal, but she poses as a progressive. And so there's a sense in which we know that Bernie Sanders is the one to beat Trump. And that's crucial because we're at a very, very deep moment in this country. And I want to salute you all because the corporate media has produced Trump in a fundamental way. Every minute he's covered. Every second he's covered. Bernie Sanders hardly gets covered at all, but he has the same number of people following.
Clinton's loss in Michigan was a warning bell that few outside of the progressive wing heard clearly. Sanders knew what was happening, and when a small bird landed on his podium during a rally, his supporters believed it was a symbolic sign that he could pull off a miracle. But there were no miracles in New York. The heated Democratic primary campaign ended with a fury in Brooklyn, where Clinton and Sanders battled one last time before the progressive surge within the party came to an end.
So let me ask you, do you believe that Secretary Clinton has the judgment to be president?
Let's talk about judgment. Let's talk about super PACs and 501c4s, money which is completely undisclosed. Where does the money come from? Do we really feel confident about a candidate saying that she's going to bring change in America when she is so dependent on big money interests? I don't think so.
This is not just an attack on me, it's an attack on President Obama. President Obama, you know, let me tell you why. This is a phony attack that is designed to raise questions when there is no evidence or support to undergird the insinuations that he is putting forward in these attacks.
Secretary Clinton, the question was about the transcripts of the speeches to Goldman Sachs. Why not release them?
I have said, look, there are certain expectations when you run for president. This is a new one.
If a Democratic Congress put a $15 minimum wage bill on your desk, would you sign it?
Oh, of course I would.
I am sure a lot of people are very surprised to learn that you supported raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
No, wait a minute.
That's just not accurate.
I have stood on the debate stage with Senator Sanders 8 prior times.
Excuse me.
I have said the
Secretary,
exact same
Senator,
thing.
please.
If we can raise it to 15 in New York or Los Angeles or Seattle, let's do it.
Earlier this week at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, you called out President Clinton for defending Secretary Clinton's use of the term super predator back in the 90s when she supported the crime bill. Why did you call him out?
Because it was a racist term and everybody knew it was a racist term.
I want white people to recognize that there is systemic racism. It's also in employment, it's in housing, but it is in the criminal justice system as well.
The future of the Democratic Party is not simply by raising money from wealthy campaign contributors. Not being dependent on Wall Street or big money.
Thank you,
that
Senator
is the
Sanders.
future of the
Secretary
Democratic
Clinton.
Party that I want to see.
Let us talk about where we are in this race. I have gotten more votes than anybody running, 9.6 million at the last count. That is 2.3 million more than Senator Sanders. And the facts are that I'm putting together a very broad-based, inclusive coalition from the South to the North, from the East to the West, with African Americans, Latinos, women, union households, working people, and I am very proud of the campaign we are running. It is a campaign that will not only capture the Democratic nomination, but a campaign that will defeat whoever the Republicans end up nominating.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
The heated exchanges underscored the high stakes of the New York primary, which Clinton ultimately won.
Today, you proved once again there's no place like home.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Republican candidates for President of the United States.
As the Republican nomination fight neared an end, the insults were flying.
The only person on the stage that's ever been fined for hiring people to work on your projects illegally. You hired some workers from Poland.
I'm the only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody.
Well, in fact, some of the people
and by the way,
Well, but hold on.
I've hired,
and
by the way, I've hired tens of thousands of people over my job. You've hired
nobody. 1,000 people
You've
from
had
another
nothing
company,
but problems
from another
with your
country.
credit cards, etc.
Let me
So
say.
don't
Let
tell
me just
me
say.
about
Well,
that.
let me finish
Senator,
the statement. This is important.
You haven't hired one
He
person
hired
in your life.
workers from Poland, and he had to pay $1 million or so in a judgment
wrong.
for hiring.
That's
It isn't-
wrong.
That's a fact.
Totally wrong.
Well, people can look it up. I'm sure people are Googling it right now.
I've
Look it up.
hired Cruz.
Trump
Excuse
Polish
me.
workers. You'll see $1 million for hiring illegal workers on one of his projects. Yeah, he did.
I can tell you when I ran for Senate here in the state of Texas, I ran promising to lead the fight against amnesty, promising to fight to build a wall. And in 2013, when I was leading the fight against the Gang of Eight amnesty bill, where was Donald? He was firing Dennis Rodman on Celebrity Apprentice.
You get along with nobody. You don't have one Republican. You don't have one Republican senator, and you work with them every day of your life, although you skipped a lot of time. These are minor details. But you don't have one Republican senator backing you, not one. You don't have the endorsement of one Republican senator, and you work with these people.
Senator Cruz.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
The former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, he said today, and I'm quoting him, he said, "I'm not going to pay for that, quote, effing wall." How are you going to make them pay for the wall?
I will, and the wall just got 10 feet taller, believe me. It's got 10 feet taller.
I don't understand, because your ties and the clothes you make is made in Mexico and in China. So you're going to be starting a trade war against your own ties and your own suits. All right.
You know why? Because
Why don't you
they
make them in
devalue
America?
their currencies.
No.
They devalue their currencies.
Well, then make them in
that
America.
Makes it well, you don't know anything about business. You lose
Well,
on
make them in
everything you do.
America.
Let me just tell you. They devalue their currencies to such an extent that our businesses cannot compete with them. Our workers lose their
And
jobs.
so you make them
but
in
you
China
wouldn't
and
know
in
anything
Russia.
about it because you're a lousy
Well, I don't know
businessman.
anything about bankrupting four companies.
No,
You
I
bankrupted
know.
four
You know what?
companies.
You know what?
I don't know anything about
You know what?
starting a
That's
university.
called-
That was a fake university.
First of all,
a fake university.
That's called.
There are people that borrow $36,000 to go to Trump University, and they're suing him now. $36,000 to go to a university.
By the way,
that's a fake school.
And by the way,
and you know what they got? They got to take a picture with a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump.
And by the way,
that's what they got for the $36,000.
I want to move
and
on.
They actually did a very good job. Here's the guy that buys a house for $179,000. He sells it to a lobbyist who's probably here for $380,000, and then legislation is passed. You tell me about this guy. This is what we're going to have.
Here's
as
the guy
president?
that inherited $200 million. If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be right now? Selling watches in Manhattan.
I'm wrong. That is so wrong. We'll work on that. I took $1 million and I turned it into $10 billion. I borrowed $1 million.
Then release your tax return so we can see how much money he makes.
I borrowed $1 million. I
he
turned it
doesn't
into
make that much
$10
money.
billion, more than $10 billion.
Thank you. I want to bring.
But now he's repeating himself.
No, I'm not repeating. No.
You don't repeat yourself.
Here's the guy who repeats himself.
You repeat yourself every day.
I watched him, talking about repeating, I watched him repeat himself 5 times 4 weeks ago. And
I saw
want to
you
tell
repeat yourself 5
it
times
was a
5
meltdown.
seconds ago.
I watched him melt down on the stage like I've never seen anybody. I thought he came out of the swimming pool.
I said, well,
Let's talk
I
about
see him
your
repeat
plan.
himself every night. It says 5 things. Everyone's dumb.
Senator
He's going to
Rubio.
make America great
Senator
again. We're going to
Rubio.
win.
Senator
He's
Rubio,
winning in the
please.
polls.
It's all true.
And the
Please
lines
stop.
around the state. Every night. Same thing. In this campaign for the last year, Donald Trump has basically mocked everybody with personal attacks. He's done so to people that are sitting on the stage today. He's done so about people that are disabled. He's done it about every other candidate in this race. So if there's anyone who's ever deserved to be attacked that way, it's been Donald Trump.
He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
Our campaign is the only campaign that over and over again has beaten Donald Trump to date, and it's why we're the one campaign that going forward can and will beat Donald Trump in this election.
We are not going to turn over the conservative movement or the party of Lincoln or Reagan, for example, to someone whose positions are not conservative.
That 80% of the people don't dig you, and I'm back down to 50.
Of all the people on the stage, he performs the worst against Hillary Clinton.
Wrong. I beat Hillary Clinton. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
If you're our nominee,
excuse me, I think I'm talking.
Hold on,
well, excuse me.
I beat Hillary Clinton in many
Hold on.
I hope you can.
The audience cannot understand when you're talking over each other.
Don't worry about it.
All right, wait.
Don't worry about it, little Marco.
Gentlemen,
gentlemen, you ought to show up.
Gentlemen, you got to do better than this.
This guy has the number one.
Mr. Trump, may I ask you, Mr. Trump, I'd like to ask you a policy question. Your proposed tax cut.
That's why the people in Florida do not like him.
All the people, all of the voters, I understand the folks who are supporting Donald right now. You're angry. You're angry at Washington, and he uses angry rhetoric. The voters have a right to know.
No, you're the liar. You're the lying guy up here. You're the one. You're the one.
Release the
You're
tape.
the one. Now let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. Excuse me. I've given my answer, Lion Ted. I've given my answer.
All right, let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. We have more to get to.
Despite the attacks coming from Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, Donald Trump still overwhelmed his opponents on Super Tuesday.
This is a map that looks very impressive after 15 contests for Donald Trump, a man who's never run for public office before, who's essentially launched a hostile takeover of the Republican Party. We're going to be in this ballpark, which again is a Trump lead, and he has momentum going into the next contest. This is why Ted Cruz is saying unite around me, but these two guys tonight say, no way, we're still in.
This has been an amazing evening. Already we've won 5 major states, and it looks like we could win 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. It's really been great. I know it was a very tough night for Marco Rubio. He had a tough night, but he worked hard. He spent a lot of money. He is a lightweight, as I've said many times before.
First of all, I'll do anything it takes to keep Donald Trump from being our nominee. Anyone who won't condemn the KKK, who won't condemn David Duke, there's no place for that in the conservative movement.
As desperation for establishment Republicans set in, the Republican presidential nominee from 4 years earlier, Mitt Romney, unleashed a scathing attack on Trump.
Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't. And no, he doesn't. He inherited his business. He didn't create it. And whatever happened to Trump Airlines? How about Trump University? And then there's Trump Magazine, and Trump Vodka, and Trump Steaks, and Trump Mortgage. A business genius, he is not.
But with 3 establishment candidates still in the race, Romney did not take a stand and encourage the party to get behind just one. That would be a critical mistake.
Michael Dukakis demonstrated that.
In Wisconsin, Cruz made his last stand. A series of events between the Texas senator and Trump that would leave heads spinning.
A super PAC supporting Cruz circulated this photo of Melania Trump with the caption, "Meet Melania Trump, your next First Lady." Or you could support Ted Cruz on Tuesday. A furious Donald Trump fired back on Twitter. Lying Ted Cruz just used a picture of Melania from a GQ shoot in his ad. "Be careful, Lying Ted, or I will spill the beans on your wife."
I don't get angry often. But you mess with my wife, you mess with my kids, that'll do it every time. Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
So will you support him as the nominee?
I'm going to beat him for the nomination. He is not, I am answering the question. Donald Trump will not be the nominee.
Trying to go on offense, Cruz then named former candidate Carly Fiorina as his running mate. But perhaps as a sign, she fell off the stage. Trump leveraged his connections with the National Enquirer, a widely distributed sleazy tabloid found in nearly every grocery store checkout line, and his close friendship with its CEO, David Pecker, to circulate damaging stories about Cruz's wife and father.
That on the cover of the National Enquirer, there was a picture of him and crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father. Instead, he said, Donald Trump, I had nothing to do with it.
The head of the National Enquirer, a guy named David Pecker, is good friends with Donald Trump. Donald Trump alleges that my dad was involved in assassinating JFK. Now, let's be clear. This is nuts. Let me be clear. This National Enquirer story is garbage.
You're running for president of the United States.
I didn't start it.
That's,
I didn't start it.
But, sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old.
I didn't start it. No, it's not the.
Yeah,
no, it's
the argument of a 5-year-old is he started it.
You would say that. That's the problem with our country.
Every parent knows a
that's
kid
not
who says he started
Excuse me.
it.
No. That's the problem. Exactly that thinking is the problem this country has. I did not start this.
Ted Cruz has defeated Donald Trump in the GOP primary.
Wisconsin voters didn't like the personal attacks. Cruz won. But the hope of establishment Republicans for a comeback was short-lived as Trump won the Indiana primary despite the opposition of its governor, Mike Pence, who backed Cruz. Like dominoes, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich all exited the race, leaving Donald Trump as the Republican victor. As the Democrats began coalescing around Hillary Clinton, the passionate and often angry Bernie bros, ardent supporters of Bernie Sanders, began lashing out and threatening Clinton supporters and journalists.
People who have gone online to defend Hillary and explain why they supported her, have been subject to attacks that are literally too profane, often, not to mention sexist, to repeat.
Sanders' rabid, angry, harassing supporters have become a problem. They've been dubbed the Bernie Bros. Bros because they're almost always male, and by the way, almost always white. And they have a tendency to jump all over and vilify anybody who doesn't support Sanders, wholeheartedly and with, like, shining light coming out of their eyes. And they tend to do it with some pretty vile, disgusting language.
I'm a bro, and I love Bernie, so no, I'm not a Bernie bro. I think Bernie bro is dangerous and divisive.
New York Times reporter Amy Chozick tweeted Wednesday, "I won't be answering calls from unknown numbers today after third call from Bernie supporters telling me they'd hunt me down in the streets."
Don't call out Trumpism if you can't call out Bernie Sanderism, right? If you can't call out Bernie Broism. And, you know, it's unacceptable on the right and it's unacceptable on the left.
These images of angry Bernie Sanders supporters fighting over delegates in Nevada tonight coming to represent a nasty feud shaking up the Democratic Party. It got so bad, the state party chair received death threats.
You should be hung in the middle of town till dead. You're a disgrace to the American people.
Tension in San Jose, California boiled over into physical confrontations with punches exchanged between Sanders and Trump supporters. The growing hostility was fueled in part by Trump's hardline stance on immigration.
I want to make it clear that any person who is a Bernie Sanders supporter, please do not in any way, shape, or form engage in violence.
In the days before dropping out of the race, Sanders was rushed by Secret Service agents at a rally in Oakland when animal rights protesters approached him on stage. On June 8th, Clinton clinched the Democratic nomination, becoming the first woman to secure a major party's nomination for President of the United States. As the Republican convention approached, Donald Trump was busy managing self-inflicted controversies.
Got an all open field, really. And you know, a lot of the people that you write about, and you people do a great job, by the way, actresses, people that you write about, just call to see if they can go out with them and things.
First, an old tape resurfaced of Trump posing as his own publicist, a practice he had once admitted to in court but now flatly denied.
You know, I couldn't tell who it is. Donald Trump says it's not him. I believe it's not him.
Then, Trump fueled further outrage by claiming that an Indiana-born judge couldn't be impartial in his Trump University case due to the judge's Mexican heritage.
I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm trying to keep business out of Mexico. Mexico's fine. There's nothing...
But he's American. He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it, as I am where I come from.
But he's
my
an
parents.
American. You keep talking about...
Jake.
It's a conflict
Jake,
of interest because
Jake,
of Mexico.
Are you ready? I have a case that should have been dismissed already.
On the eve of the Republican convention, whispers circulated that Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, was behind the removal of language in the party platform supporting the arming of Ukraine in its conflict with Russia.
Why did you soften the GOP platform on Ukraine?
I wasn't involved in that. Honestly, I was not involved. Yeah, I was not involved in that. I'd like to, I'd have to take a look at it, but I was not involved.
Do you know what they did?
they softened it, I heard, but I was not involved.
Trump's foreign policy advisor J.D. Gordon later confirmed that it was he who requested the change at Trump's direction.
And I asked J.D. Gordon, well, why is that? Why did you go ahead and advocate for that language? And he said that this is the language that Donald Trump himself wanted and advocated for.
With establishment Republicans struggling to maintain control over the platform, Ted Cruz delegates made a final effort to block Trump's nomination. In the end, Trump secured victory, and Cruz faced a hostile crowd loudly booed during his convention speech.
This convention will come to order.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the resolution is agreed to. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
We just want a roll call vote. That's all we want. We're seeking a roll call vote. We've exercised our rights as states. 11 states, the delegates, a majority of the delegates from 11 states have submitted written petitions asking for a roll call vote on the rules. Our rules allow us to get a roll call vote in that circumstance. That's all we're wanting.
It's been a rough year for the media experts. It must be humbling to be so wrong about so much for so long.
Let's make America great again, but let's make America again.
Do you believe that we could never have a Muslim president or never have a Jewish president?
We had one. We had a Muslim president for 7.5 years.
You believe that President Obama is a Muslim?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And that is based on what you feel in your heart?
That's what I believe, yeah.
Donald Trump raised concerns on behalf of working people before the Washington elites did.
Trump will put America first, not crooked Hillary.
That is why we need Donald Trump. We'll build the wall. And Donald Trump will make America great again.
What happened to there's no black America, there's no white America, there is just America? What happened to it? I am going to mention it. This is a man with a big heart who loves people, all people, from the top to the bottom, from the middle to the side.
It is my great honor to present the next First Lady of the United States.
With all of my heart, I know that he will make a great and lasting difference. Donald has a great and deep and unbonding determination and a never-give-up attitude. I have seen him fight for years to get the project done, or even started, and he does not give up.
Wake up, America! We do not need a reckless president who believes she is above the law. Lock her up. That's right. That's right. Lock her up.
This is what freedom looks like. Shut it down.
And it is my honor to be able to throw Donald Trump over the top in the delegate count tonight with 89 delegates. And another 6 for John Kasich. Congratulations, Dad. We love you.
More than anything, though, my job has taught me the value of trust, how to distinguish between people who are in this to serve others and people who are in it for themselves.
Tonight, as a former federal prosecutor, I welcome the opportunity to hold Hillary Rodham Clinton accountable for her performance and her character. All right, we're getting there.
And by the way, people on another cable network were talking about how there was no energy in the room last night. Why don't you sit here with the people? What a joke.
After a long and spirited primary, the time for fighting each other is over.
Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America.
It is my honor to introduce to you the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
Yet there I was, a few days ago in New York City, with the man who won 37 states, who faced 16 talented opponents and outlasted every one of them, and along the way brought millions of new voters into the Republican Party. You know, he's a man known for a large personality, a colorful style, and lots of charisma, and so I guess he was just looking for some balance on the ticket.
I truly believe Mr. Trump is America's blue-collar billionaire. Donald Trump will build the wall.
Donald J. Trump will make sure that all Americans will have jobs.
What the hell's going on here?
It's time to end the era of stupid wars and rebuild our country.
Come January 17, all things will be possible again. We can hope and dream and think big again. No one has more faith in the American people than my father. He will be your greatest, your truest, and your most loyal champion.
Friends, delegates, and fellow Americans, I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States. In Libya, our consulate, the symbol of American prestige around the globe, was brought down in flames. America is far less safe, and the world is far less stable than when Obama made the decision to put Hillary Clinton in charge of America's foreign policy. This is the legacy of Hillary Clinton: death, destruction, terrorism, and weakness. Big business, elite media, and major donors are lining up behind the campaign of my opponent because they know she will keep our rigged system in place. I am your voice. We are going to build a great border wall to stop illegal immigration, to stop the gangs and the violence, and to stop the drugs from pouring into our communities. And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night. I love you.
The establishment handoff to Trump had been successful, although Melania Trump was chastised a bit for using portions of Michelle Obama's convention speech to Democrats 8 years earlier.
And I set out to build lives guided by these values and to pass them on to the next generation, because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
I really encourage people to research.
As Hillary Clinton prepared to accept the Democratic Party's nomination, an overseas adversary was quietly working to damage her campaign.
We have a lot of material related to the U.S. election campaign, including related to Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, harbored a personal animosity toward Clinton stemming from her tenure as Secretary of State, during which she advocated for his inclusion on a watch list for releasing classified U.S. diplomatic materials.
The United States strongly condemns the illegal disclosure of classified information. It puts people's lives in danger, threatens our national security, and undermines our efforts to work with other countries to solve shared problems.
Assange, who frequently appeared on Russian state media, was at least indirectly linked to Russia's efforts to interfere in the U.S. election under President Vladimir Putin, who had long viewed Clinton as an adversary.
Julian Assange has a new show called The World Tomorrow. It premieres on Russia Today tomorrow. The fact that this guy has been hired by Russia is amazing. Russia Today, in case you don't know, is a propaganda arm of the Russian government, and Vladimir Putin is the guy who's pushing this thing.
In June 2016, Russian hackers working for Russia's military intelligence infiltrated the servers of the Democratic National Committee. Around the same time, Green Party candidate Jill Stein positioned herself as an alternative to Clinton, further splintering the left.
Do not go into that party. We are going forward together.
Stein's presence at a 2015 dinner in Moscow, where she sat with Putin and Trump's foreign policy advisor Michael Flynn, raised questions about her connections to Russia. Her third-party candidacy would weigh heavily in several battleground states come fall. Adding to Clinton's troubles, her husband, former President Bill Clinton, privately met with Attorney General Loretta Lynch in the midst of the FBI's investigation into Hillary's private email server. Although Lynch and Bill Clinton denied discussing the investigation, the optics of that meeting ignited a firestorm of speculation.
And no discussions were held in any cases or anything of that. And he didn't raise anything about that either.
Days later, FBI Director James Comey cleared Clinton of criminal wrongdoing in her handling of classified information, but criticized her for being extremely careless.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate in the wake of this recommendation, as there was throughout the investigation. What I can assure the American people is that this investigation was done honestly, competently, and independently.
Trump then shocked the political world by publicly calling on Russia to find Clinton's missing emails, which many interpreted as an invitation for foreign interference in the election.
If Russia or China or any other country has those emails, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to see them. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
Around the same time, Trump's campaign manager Paul Manafort, along with Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner, met with a Russian lawyer at Trump Tower after being promised damaging information on Clinton. However, the meeting primarily revolved around a law that imposed sanctions on Russian officials involved in human rights abuses. This meeting later became a focal point in the investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian efforts to sway the election.
I'm told that this morning his campaign chairman Paul Manafort offered and Donald Trump accepted his resignation.
Manafort resigned from the campaign shortly afterward when it was revealed that he had failed to disclose receiving millions of dollars from pro-Russian Ukrainian interests.
These changes continue to go on. Trump believes now with Steve Bannon as his chief executive officer and Kellyanne Conway as his campaign manager. He now has the team to take him through to the general election.
As tensions mounted at the Democratic National Convention, fueled by divisions between Bernie Sanders and Clinton supporters, Assange hinted that more damaging information would soon be released.
We have more material related to the Hillary Clinton campaign. It is correct to say that.
His cryptic threat loomed over Clinton's campaign, a final blow in what appeared to be a coordinated effort to undermine her path to the presidency.
We have assembled an extraordinary collection of Americans here in this arena. We are all Democrats and we need to act like it.
I am proud to be a part of Bernie's movement, and a vital part of that movement is making absolutely sure that Hillary Clinton is our next president of the United States. Booyah, Baba Booey. The Bernie, can I just say, to the Bernie or bust people, you're being ridiculous.
Like a bridge over troubled water.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that this country isn't great, that somehow we need to make it great again, because this right now is the greatest country on earth.
We're here today because our choice is Hillary Clinton. I'm with Hillary. I'm with Hillary.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Together, my friends, we have begun a political revolution to transform America, and that revolution, our revolution, continues. We need leadership which brings our people together. Any objective observer will conclude that based on her ideas and her leadership, Hillary Clinton must become the next president of the United States.
Never Hillary!
Watch your legs.
Never Hillary! As people say, hell no, DNC, we won't vote for Hillary. Hell no, DNC, we won't vote for Hillary. No. What democracy looks like! You're fired! Tell me what democracy looks like!
I came all the way from Tennessee just to let them know I am not happy with the corruption and the election fraud that has happened.
We have got to elect Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
In this together,
And I move that Hillary Clinton be selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
about Donald Trump, but that was over the top.
She knows that safeguarding freedom and security is not like hosting a TV reality show.
I built a business, and I didn't start it with $1 million check from my father.
For this time, Hillary is uniquely qualified to seize the opportunities and reduce the risk we face. And she is still the best darn change maker I have ever known. You could drop her. You could drop her into any trouble spot. Pick one. Come back in a month, and somehow, some way, she will have made it better. That is just who she is.
We all understand what it will mean for our daughters and granddaughters when Hillary Clinton walks into the Oval Office as President of the United States of America. It will change their lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next Vice President of the United States, Senator Tim Kaine.
Trump is a guy who promises a lot, but you might have noticed he's got a way of saying the same two words every time he makes his biggest, hugest promises. Believe me. It's going to be great, believe me. We're going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it, believe me. We're going to destroy ISIS so fast, believe me. There's nothing suspicious in my tax returns, believe me.
The First Lady said it best, being president has not changed who he is, it has revealed who he is. His core values, his principles, his temperament.
And most of all, I see Americans of every party, every background, every faith, who believe that we are stronger together. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know. And there is only one candidate in this race who believes in that future, has devoted her life to that future, a mother and a grandmother who would do anything to help our children thrive. A leader with real plans to break down barriers and blast through glass ceilings and widen the circle of opportunity to every single American, the next president of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Captain Khan was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star and Purple Heart. He was just 27 years old.
Donald Trump, you're asking Americans to trust you with their future. Let me ask you, have you even read the United States Constitution? I will gladly lend you my copy.
I hope that my children will someday be as proud of me as I am of my mom. I am so grateful to be her daughter. And Mom, Grandma would be so, so proud of you tonight.
reached a milestone in our nation's march toward a more perfect union. The first time that a major party has nominated a woman for president. Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again. Well, he could start by actually making things in America again. Do you really think Donald Trump has the temperament to be commander-in-chief? Donald Trump can't even handle the rough and tumble of a presidential campaign. A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons. Let's build a better tomorrow for our beloved children and our beloved country. And when we do, America will be greater than ever. Thank you, and may God bless you and the United States of America.
Candidate named D's Nuts.
Oh, no.
Really? A candidate registered as an independent from Iowa has the legal name of D's Nuts.
No.
A humorous and unexpected twist in the campaign unfolded when a 15-year-old high school student registered with the Federal Election Commission under the name D's Nuts. This joke candidacy captured widespread media attention, even managing to poll as high as 9% in several states, including North Carolina.
I'm Brady Olson, I'm 15, and I'm the presidential candidate known as D's Nuts.
In a battleground state like North Carolina, the inclusion of D's Nuts in legitimate polls reflected voters' desire for alternative options beyond Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
D's Nuts. D's Nuts. D's Nuts. D's Nuts. D's Nuts.
D's Nuts. D's Nuts. D's Nuts.
D's Nuts.
D's Nuts. D's Nuts.
For Trump on the campaign trail, not everyone was sold on his effort to make America great again. With the conventions in the rearview mirror, Trump started the campaign by identifying one black supporter at a rally.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest?
He then falsely accused President Obama of being the founder of ISIS.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. Okay? He's the founder.
From the start of his campaign, Trump promised to build a new border wall and insisted Mexico would foot the bill.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Who's going to pay for the wall? 100%.
However, when he visited Mexico in September, the country's leader made it clear they had no intention of paying for it.
Today, standing next to the president of Mexico, Donald Trump ditched a year's worth of tough talk.
It's been a tremendous honor, and I call you a friend.
At the beginning of the conversation with Donald Trump, I made it clear that Mexico will not pay for the wall.
On his return, Trump began reciting the snake poem at his rallies, using it as a metaphor to warn against admitting refugees and immigrants into the United States.
I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bit me. Heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
You can put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Hillary Clinton kicked off her fall campaign with a major misstep, openly disparaging Trump supporters.
The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Both Mike Pence and Donald Trump are expressing outrage over Clinton's remarks.
The millions of Americans that are supporting my running mate were described in the most deplorable of terms. Hillary, they are not a basket of anything. They are Americans, and they deserve your respect.
While Trump's ally, the National Enquirer, and its CEO David Pecker continuously raised questions about Clinton's health, pointing to her frequent coughing during rallies.
You can make a difference.
Get some water.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
The speculation intensified when she nearly collapsed after attending a 9/11 memorial ceremony in New York.
A camera captured Mrs. Clinton appearing woozy and losing balance as she was escorted into her SUV.
As controversy over Clinton's email handling continued into the fall, Trump intensified his message, positioning himself as the law and order candidate.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law.
Amid the tension, a rare moment of political civility emerged when Michelle Obama and George W. Bush shared a hug at the opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
From NBC News. Decision 2016, the first presidential debate.
That goodwill, however, was quickly overshadowed by the first Clinton-Trump debate on September 26th in New York, one of the most anticipated events of the campaign.
We also, though, need to have a tax system that rewards work and not just financial transactions. And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percent of the people in this country than we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down, because that's exactly what it would be.
Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me. And what you do is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck. But if you think you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or your cookies or whatever you make and bring them into our country without a tax, you're wrong.
Take clean energy. Some country is going to be the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. Donald thinks that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. I think it's real.
I did not.
Science is real.
I do not say that.
And I think it's important that we grip this and deal with it.
Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Don't Americans have a right to know if there are any conflicts of interest?
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted.
The question is, were he ever to get near the White House, what would be those conflicts? Who does he owe money to? Well, he owes you the answers to that, and he should provide them.
He also raised the issue of your emails. Do you want to respond to that?
I do. You know, I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently.
We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because it's so dangerous. You walk down the street, you get shot.
It's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire, negative picture of black communities in our country.
Well,
there's no doubt now that Russia has used cyber attacks against all kinds of organizations in our country, and I am deeply concerned about this. I know Donald's very praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin, but Putin is playing a really tough, long game here. I think they've been treating it as almost a probing. How far would we go? How much would we do? And that's why I was so shocked when Donald publicly invited Putin to hack into Americans.
I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
Donald supported the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
He actually advocated for the actions we took in Libya.
Mr. Trump, a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your judgment?
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her. I had numerous conversations with Sean Hannity at Fox, and Sean Hannity said, and he called me the other day, and I spoke to him about it. He said you were totally against the war because he was for the war.
Why is your judgment better than...
And that was before the war started.
A man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests, supporting them and hanging around them. And he called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
her
this?
name
Where
is
did you find
Alicia
this?
Machado.
Where did you find
and
it?
she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good.
Are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voter?
The answer is, if she wins, I will absolutely support her.
The first presidential debate was widely seen as a win for Clinton, but Trump still held his ground on the national stage. As expected, comedians and late-night shows quickly jumped in with their takes.
Shut up.
He started the birther movement.
You did.
He says climate change is a hoax invented by China.
It's pronounced China.
Okay, good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me. But in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, she's been doing this for 30 years.
Sweetie, do you need a tissue?
Caring all about the future of our country, vote for her, okay? She's the one who at least has some experience. She's not as bad as you think, I promise. And unlike me, she's actually capable of running this country.
My opponent is a liar and he cannot be trusted. No!
Oh my God, she is such a turd sandwich.
Why don't you move to Africa? Yeah, move to Africa. I wish that you would, because I'll never move to that country.
Yeah, she's winning and stuff. Did you catch that?
Woo! Oh, yeah.
This
is so fun. We need to take a break. We just need to have a word from our sponsor.
Washington is broken. The truth is, too many politicians are totally controlled by special interests and lobbyists. We're going to make America great again. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
He approves the message.
Why would you play a commercial from my opponent in the middle of our interview?
He paid me in steaks.
I'd be afraid to eat them if I were you.
It's a good cut of meat. I think it's part of the asshole.
Of course, it did not take long for one of these two candidates to tell a lie.
Donald, it's good to be with you.
In their sole debate that fall, Governor Mike Pence and Senator Tim Kaine, the vice presidential nominees, embodied a level of civility that stood in stark contrast to Trump's more combative style.
We have a tax code, Senator, that actually is designed to encourage entrepreneurship.
But why
in this
won't he
country.
release his tax return?
Well, we're answering the question about the business thing.
I do want to come back on this.
His tax returns that showed he went through a very difficult time, but he used the tax code just the way it's supposed to be used, and he did it brilliantly.
How do you know that? You haven't seen his tax return.
Because he's created a business that's worth billions of dollars today.
How do you know that?
And with regard to paying taxes, this whole riff about not paying taxes and people saying he didn't pay taxes for years, Donald Trump has created tens of thousands of jobs, and he's paid payroll taxes,
let me talk
sales
about that.
taxes,
Senator, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to respond, and I have a question on Social
Hillary Clinton
Security
is going
for
to
you.
raise taxes, and Donald Trump and I are going to cut them.
Donald Trump started this campaign in 2014. He said, if I run for president, I will absolutely release my taxes. He's broken his first promise. Second, he stood on the stage on the stage last week, and when Hillary said you haven't been paying taxes, he said, that makes me smart. So it's smart not to pay for our military. It's smart not to pay for veterans. It's smart not to pay for teachers. And I guess all of us who do pay for those things, I guess we're stupid. And the last thing I'll say
Senator,
is this.
do you take all the deductions that you're entitled to?
The last thing I want to ask Governor Pence is this.
do.
Governor Pence had to give Donald Trump his tax returns to show he was qualified to be vice president. Donald Trump must give the American public his tax returns to show that he's qualified to be president, and he's breaking his promise.
Elaine, I have to respond to this.
You get very little time here, 20 seconds.
I'll be very respectful.
Governor.
Look, Donald Trump has filed over 100 pages of financial disclosure, which is what the law requires.
But he said he would release his tax returns.
The American people can review that, and he's going, Senator,
all right,
he's
gentlemen,
going to release his
I need
tax
to ask you
returns
about
when the audit
Social Security.
is over.
Richard Nixon released tax returns when he was under audit.
They're going to raise your taxes.
Gentlemen,
if you can't meet the Nixon standard,
the people at home cannot understand either one of you when you speak over each other.
The Kaine-Pence debate had little impact on either campaign. However, just before the second presidential debate, a 2005 Access Hollywood recording surfaced, capturing Donald Trump making lewd and vulgar remarks about women.
Moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it. Whoa. I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news there.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see she's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. Do anything.
The release of the tape, just weeks before the election, ignited a political firestorm. It wasn't just Democrats condemning Trump. Leading Republicans like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Speaker Paul Ryan, and Senator John McCain also rebuked him, with McCain even rescinding his endorsement.
I have daughters. I have friends. I have so many wonderful people on my staff. They cannot be degraded and demeaned in that fashion. And so I believe that I had to withdraw my support.
Behind the scenes, there were discussions about possibly replacing Trump with Mike Pence as the nominee. That night, Trump issued a rare apology.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Despite the apology, the controversy continued. But Trump found an unexpected ally in WikiLeaks and its founder, Julian Assange, who had vowed to strike again. WikiLeaks released a trove of emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. The media quickly shifted focus to Clinton's private email server once more.
Political story breaking late last night. The WikiLeaks dump on Hillary Clinton's Wall Street speeches. Moments ago, WikiLeaks has tweeted, quote, "We have published 1% of the Podesta emails so far. Additional publications will proceed throughout the election period," end quote.
And another release of hacked emails. The batch that was just released continues to raise questions about what Democratic presidential nominee says in public and then what she says in private.
Tonight, there is growing evidence that Russia is using WikiLeaks as a delivery vehicle for hacked emails and other information. Today, reports that Russia's state-backed RussiaToday.com tweeted and published a story on the latest stolen emails of Clinton campaign manager John Podesta before WikiLeaks posted them.
Just 2 days later, Trump faced Clinton in the second presidential debate. In a move that shocked many, Trump held a pre-debate press conference with 4 women who had accused Bill Clinton of sexual misconduct.
I tweeted recently, and Mr. Trump retweeted it, that actions speak louder than words. Mr. Trump may have said some bad words, but Bill Clinton raped me when Hillary Clinton threatened me.
During the debate, Trump took a confrontational stance, even looming behind Clinton as she answered questions.
We received a lot of questions online, Mr. Trump, about the tape that was released on Friday. As you can imagine, you called what you said locker room banter. You described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it.
Just for the record, though, are you saying that what you said on that bus 11 years ago, that you did not actually kiss women without consent or grope women without consent?
I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
So for the record, you're saying you never did that?
I said things that, frankly, you hear these things are said. And I was embarrassed by it, but I have tremendous respect for women.
Have you ever done those
women
things?
Have respect for me. And I will tell you, no, I have not.
Well, like everyone else, I've spent a lot of time thinking over the last 48 hours about what we heard and saw. You know, with prior Republican nominees for president, I disagreed with them on politics, policies, principles, but I never questioned their fitness to serve. Donald Trump is different. I said starting back in June that he was not fit to be president and commander-in-chief. And many Republicans and independents have said the same thing.
So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at age 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently?
I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country, and certainly I'm not proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. So you can say any way you want to say it, but Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them are here tonight.
When I hear something like that, I am reminded of what my friend Michelle Obama advised us all. When they go low, you go high.
But if I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it. And we're going to have a special prosecutor.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
As polls showed Clinton pulling ahead of the battleground states, Trump started suggesting that the election results would be rigged.
The process is rigged. It's a rigged election. It's a rigged system.
Meanwhile, adult film actress Stormy Daniels was preparing to reveal an alleged affair with Trump from 2006, shortly before the birth of his son Barron. In response, Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, arranged a $130,000 hush payment to Daniels just weeks before the election. At the same time, Trump's friend, National Enquirer CEO David Pecker, paid former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal $150,000 for the exclusive rights to her story, only to bury it, a tactic known as catch and kill. McDougal claimed to have had a 10-month affair with Trump, overlapping with Daniels' claims. Throughout the final month of the campaign, over a dozen women accused Trump of sexual misconduct. Meanwhile, political ads flooded battleground states, becoming as much a part of the fall season as the college football games viewers tuned in to watch.
Speaking to wealthy donors, Hillary Clinton called tens of millions of Americans deplorable.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
People like you, and you. Deplorable. You know what's deplorable? Hillary Clinton viciously demonizing hard-working people like you.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
You can't lead this nation if you have such a low opinion for its citizens. How stupid are the people of the country?
We're building a wall. He's a Mexican.
You got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. What the hell do you have to lose?
If you look at his wife, she had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
She's a disgusting pig, right? I'd like to punch him in the face.
They're losers. Loser. Disgusting, stupid.
You can't lead this nation if you have such a low opinion for its citizens.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
The man who murdered Joshua is an illegal alien, and he should not have been here.
The killer hit him in the head with a closet rod so hard that it broke in 4 pieces. And then he took him to a field, and he doused him with gasoline and set him on fire. It's the hardest day of my life.
Hillary Clinton's border policy is going to allow people into the country just like the one that murdered my son.
In 2004, my son was stationed in Iraq. He saw a suicide bomber approaching his camp. My son moved forward to stop the bomber when the bomb exploded. He saved everyone in his unit. Only one American soldier died. My son was Captain Humayun Khan. He was 27 years old, and he was a Muslim American. I want to ask Mr. Trump, would my son have a place in your America?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
The Clintons. From dead broke to worth hundreds of millions. So how did Hillary end up filthy rich? Pay-to-play politics. Staggering amounts of cash poured into the Clinton Foundation from criminals, dictators, countries that hate America. Hillary cut deals for donors. Now the FBI has launched a new investigation. After decades of lies and scandal, her corruption is closing in.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
As a line of clothing. Now, where were these made?
These were made, I don't know where they were made, but they were made someplace. But they're great. It's ties, shirts, cufflinks, everything sold at Macy's, and they're doing great.
Where are the shirts made? Bangladesh.
Well, it's good. Okay. We employ people in Bangladesh.
Ties? Where are the ties
they
made?
Have to work
These are
too.
Beautiful ties.
They are great ties.
The ties are made in where? China?
China.
Ties are made in China.
The most important job any woman can have is being a mother, and it shouldn't mean taking a pay cut. I'm Ivanka Trump, a mother, a wife, and an entrepreneur. Donald Trump understands the needs of a modern workforce. My father will change outdated labor laws so that they support women and American families. He will provide tax credits for childcare, paid maternity leave, and dependent care savings accounts. This will allow women to support their families and further their careers.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. Does she have a good body? No. Does she have a fat ass? Absolutely.
You like girls that are 5'1", they come up to you know where.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
I view a person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10.
And you can tell them to go themselves.
Does Donald Trump really speak for you? Priorities USA Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
She'll call 911. Average response time, 11 minutes. Too late. She keeps a firearm in this safe for protection. But Hillary Clinton could take away her right to self-defense. And with Supreme Court justices, Hillary can. Don't let Hillary leave you protected with nothing but a phone. The NRA Political Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. She's a slob. She ate like a pig.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10. Does she have a good body? No. Does she have a fat? Absolutely.
So you treat women with respect?
I can't say that either.
All right, good.
But I want to say one thing.
We turned over everything.
I want you to listen to me.
I did not.
I did not.
I did not send classified material.
Not a single time.
And I did not receive.
Never.
Any material that was marked or designated classified.
I never told anybody to lie.
That's all I could say.
These allegations are false.
I don't know how it works digitally at all.
Rebuilding America Now PAC is responsible for the content of this message.
Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
This was me in 1964. The fear of nuclear war that we had as children, I never thought our children would ever have to deal with that again. And to see that coming forward in this election is really scary.
Trump asked 3 times.
3 times. Why can't we use nuclear weapons?
I want to be unpredictable.
What safeguards are there to stop any president who may not be stable from launching a nuclear attack?
The commander-in-chief is the commander-in-chief.
Bomb the shit out of him.
Decades of lies, cover-ups, and scandal have finally caught up with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is under FBI investigation again after her emails were found on pervert Anthony Weiner's laptop. Think about that. America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation. Hillary Clinton, unfit to serve.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. And you can tell them to go themselves. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember.
Our children and grandchildren will look back at this time, at the choices we are about to make, the goals we will strive for, the principles we will live by, and we need to make sure that they can be proud of us.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
On October 19th, the third and final presidential debate took place.
Do you want the court, including the justices that you will name, do you want to see the court overturn Roe v. Wade?
Well, if we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, that will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court.
I will defend Roe v. Wade, and I will defend women's rights to make their own health care decisions. And we have come too far to have that turn back now. And indeed, he said women should be punished, that there should be some form of punishment for women who obtain abortions. And I could just not be more opposed to that kind of thinking.
Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords, all of the bad ones. We have some bad people in this country that have to go out. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
When it comes to the wall that Donald talks about building, he went to Mexico. He had a meeting with the Mexican president, didn't even raise it. He choked, and then got into a Twitter war because the Mexican president said, we're not paying for that wall.
Hillary Clinton wanted the wall. Hillary Clinton fought for the wall in 2006 or thereabouts. Now, she never gets anything done, so naturally the wall wasn't built.
What I am also arguing is that bringing undocumented immigrants out from the shadows, putting them into the formal economy will be good, because then employers can't exploit them and undercut Americans' wages. And Donald knows a lot about this. He used undocumented labor to build the Trump Tower.
In a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question.
What's really important about WikiLeaks is that the Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans. So I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris, is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this and make it clear that he will not have the help of Putin in this election?
That was a great pivot off the fact that she wants open borders. Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit
No, you're
that
the
the
puppet.
Russians have engaged in cyber attacks against the United States of America, and they are designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing,
Secretary
and
Clinton,
I think it's
She
time
has no
that you
idea
take a
whether it's
stand,
Russia,
because if-
China, or anybody
I am
else.
not quoting
She has
myself.
no idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you
17,
have no idea.
17 do you doubt 17
Our
military
country has
and
no idea.
civilian agencies? Well,
Yeah, I
he'd
doubt
rather
it. I
believe
doubt it.
Vladimir Putin than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us. I find that just absolutely
She doesn't
frightening.
like Putin because Putin has outsmarted her at every
Mr.
step
Trump,
of the way. Excuse me. Putin has
Mr. Trump,
outsmarted her in
Mr.
Syria.
Trump, I'm
He's
not a potted
outsmarted
plant
her
here. I
every
do get
step
that.
of the way.
10 people who have had that awesome responsibility have come out and in an unprecedented way said they would not trust Donald Trump with the nuclear codes or to have his finger on the nuclear button.
Look, she's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways. This is just another lie.
There's only one of us on this stage who's actually shipped jobs to Mexico, because that's Donald.
Give me a
And on the day when I was in the Situation Room monitoring the raid that brought Osama bin Laden to justice, he was hosting the Celebrity Apprentice.
You said your talk about grabbing women was just that, talk, and that you'd never actually done it. And since then, as we all know, 9 women have come forward and said that you either groped them or kissed them without their consent.
I didn't know any of these women. I didn't see these women. These women, the woman on the plane, the woman, I think they want either fame or her campaign did it. And I think it's her campaign.
At the last debate, we heard Donald talking about what he did to women. And after that, a number of women have come forward saying that's exactly what he did to them. Now, what was his response? Well, he held a number of big rallies where he said that he could not possibly have done those things to those women because they were not attractive enough for
I did not
them
say
to be
that.
assaulted.
I did not say that.
In fact, he went on to say...
Her 2 minutes, sir, her 2 minutes.
But did not say that.
It's her 2 minutes.
He went on to say, look at her. I don't think so.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody. Nobody has more respect.
Please, everybody.
This is a pattern of divisiveness, of a very dark and in many ways dangerous vision of our country, where he incites violence, where he applauds people who are pushing and pulling and punching at his rallies. That is not who America is.
You have been warning at rallies recently that this election is rigged and that Hillary Clinton is in the process of trying to steal it from you. I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
Sir, there is a tradition in this country. In fact, one of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit
What
to
I'm
that
saying
principle?
is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
You know, President Obama said the other day, when you're whining before the game is even finished, it just shows you're not up to doing the job.
Bernie Sanders said you have bad judgment.
I agree with both.
Well, you should ask Bernie Sanders who he's supporting for president, and he has said,
Which is
as
a
he
big
has
mistake.
campaigned for me around the country, you are the most dangerous person to run for president in the modern history of America. I think he's right.
The next day, both Clinton and Trump attended the Al Smith dinner in New York, traditionally a lighthearted event. However, Trump broke with tradition, launching a sharp attack on Clinton, marking a departure from the evening's usual tone.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. How corrupt do you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission? Pretty corrupt. We've learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. That's okay. I don't know who they're angry at, Hillary, you're right. For example, here she is tonight in public, pretending not to hate Catholics.
The presidential election was rocked Friday by news that FBI Director James Comey had sent a letter to congressional leaders announcing that he was reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server.
On October 28th, just 11 days before the election, FBI Director James Comey announced the reopening of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server. This was triggered by the discovery of new emails on a laptop belonging to Anthony Weiner, the estranged husband of Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin. The FBI had found these emails while investigating Weiner in an unrelated case.
We are 11 days out from perhaps the most important national election of our lifetimes.
As her momentum slowed and the polls tightened, Clinton responded to the last-minute development that shook up the final days of the race.
Complete facts immediately.
It is not clear whether these new emails contain classified information or if they're just copies of things the FBI has already seen. But Director Comey's decision to announce this development, that even he acknowledges may not be significant, has ignited a political firestorm.
I need to open with a very critical breaking news announcement.
Trump, for his part, seized the opportunity, criticizing Clinton over her handling of classified information.
The FBI has just sent a letter to Congress informing them that they have discovered new emails and they are reopening the case into her criminal and illegal conduct that threatens the security of the United States of America.
The following day, Trump was again rushed off stage by Secret Service agents during a rally in Nevada. In the midst of the chaos, President Obama faced an angry electorate and found himself defending a shouting Trump supporter at a Clinton rally.
Hold up! Hey, hold up! It's okay. Hey! Hold up! Hold up! Don't boo! Oh! Don't boo! Oh! Come on!
Meanwhile, progressive filmmaker Michael Moore worried about Clinton's campaign strategy in blue-collar states like Michigan and warned that Trump could pull off an unexpected victory.
I think, and I want to warn everybody, do not trust these numbers. I think the Trump vote is being... no, well, look, I'm in Michigan, so on the morning of the primary in March, all the polls, this network, all the networks...
Everybody missed Bernie.
Said that she was going to win that night by 8 to 25 points.
Right.
And, of course, she lost 12 hours later. I think that there is so much despair in the state of Michigan, so much anger at the system.
Some conservatives, like J.D. Vance, author of the best-selling Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis, dismissed Moore's concerns, believing Trump was unelectable.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. I think that this election is really having a negative effect, especially on the white working class, right? Because I think a lot of these grievances are legitimate, but what it's doing is it's giving people an excuse to point the finger at someone else. It's point the finger at Mexican immigrants or Chinese trade or the Democratic elites or whatever else. Fundamentally, what's going on and what Donald Trump has done is change the focus of the white working class from a sort of engaged and constructive politics to a politics of pointing the finger.
However, many white working class voters in the Midwest blue firewall states believe Clinton was corrupt and saw Trump as a solution to their frustrations.
White voters who are struggling middle class, lower middle class, have felt like that they're not only losing influence, but in doing so, they're fearful. They're fearful, and they are quick to anger, quick to suspicion. They are mad as hell.
I've been mad. I'm one of the angry, voters that they've been discussing for the last year.
I am pissed. I'm pissed about everything that's happening. I'm depressed, I'm angry because of the things that's going on, not just in this country, but all over the world. This world is all screwed up, and it's Obama's fault.
I believe he can do more for the American people who are the blue-collar workers such as me than any other politician besides Bernie. All Hillary knows how to do is lie, lie, lie.
We're getting aluminum from China. We don't need aluminum from China. Hell, we make it right here.
Clintons are against almost anything. They're against coal, they're against drilling for oil, they're against the steel industry. They're just, I don't know, it seems like they're trying to kill everything. I don't know what they think people should do.
If we lose this election, I think we lose America.
And I think that a lot of this election is about tapping into a lot of anger that there is in this country.
He's against things made in China, and he's not Hillary Clinton. We do not want another term with Hillary Clinton.
He's ending the corruption already, single-handedly demolished the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party's next.
And I'm voting for Trump because Bill and Hillary are criminals.
I'm just fed up with the way things are going, and he's our last hope.
I'm voting for Trump because I cannot stand to see a criminal in prison. I'll never let it happen.
My kids are going to remember this, their kids are going to remember this, and I grew up with my family loving Trump.
I see a person that actually stands for, what they've been thinking in their head, but were too afraid to say all the years.
Shouldn't we report negative things about Donald Trump? He's saying there are none?
Well, no, it's no negative things about Trump.
No negative things. No. So anyone that reports that...
It's controversial, but it's not, from my point of view, nothing's negative.
He's all good.
He's all good in my books. And I think, the media, you guys are the ones that are the crooked ones with Hillary.
Most of the emails were personal or duplicate emails that had already been reviewed by the FBI.
2 days before the election, FBI Director Comey announced that Clinton had been cleared of wrongdoing in the email investigation once again. However, millions had already cast their ballots early, and the damage was done. On Election Day, Trump achieved a stunning victory, defying polls and even his own campaign's expectations to become the 45th president of the United States.
Right now, from coast to coast, across presidential battlegrounds, it's all coming down to this night and this choice. Hillary Clinton seeking to break the ultimate glass ceiling. Donald Trump hoping to shatter expectations again. After months of twists and turns, the first results now just minutes away.
And we're going to win because of you.
I will totally accept the results if I win.
The polls have now closed in 6 states with 60 electoral votes, and ABC News can project that Donald Trump has won the state of Kentucky. That was a state won by Bill Clinton twice, 1992 and 1996, Republican ever since then. Donald Trump the winner tonight. Up in Vermont, 3 electoral votes. Hillary Clinton wins those 3 electoral votes. Of course, that is the home state of Bernie Sanders, her rival in the primaries. Solid blue state. Hillary Clinton gets that tonight. And Nate, tell us where you have your final forecast as we're coming into the evening.
So we wound up with Clinton having a 71% chance of winning, so better than 2 and 3. And we'll update that as the night goes along, as you guys, ABC News, calls states. So far, obviously, no game changer with Trump winning Kentucky or Clinton winning Vermont. The people I follow think the returns look good so far for Clinton in Florida, of course, which is a must-win state for Trump.
They're going to have one concession speech and one victory speech. But that said, I think it would come as a real shock to this campaign if she ended up delivering that concession speech.
Well, first of all, I'm smiling because you can sense the energy here at Javits Center in New York City. We had thousands of people pouring in for what we hope is going to be a celebration tonight of the first woman president of the United States.
Why are you so confident about the White House?
Because I'm confident in the American people.
If you look back, do you have any regrets that you didn't get into Michigan sooner in a bigger way?
You know, I think Donald Trump's campaign might be regretting that they didn't compete harder, I would argue, around the country by building a ground game like Hillary decided to, but also, you know, competing harder in a state like Michigan.
All right, take a look at this. We project that Hillary Clinton will carry her home state of New York. That's 29 electoral votes. Hillary Clinton will win New York State. That's Donald Trump's home state as well. Hillary Clinton carries the Empire State. Donald Trump will carry a huge prize, Texas, with all of its 38 electoral votes. A big win for Donald Trump in the state of Texas.
Our Republican presidential candidate and his monstrosity and his lewd, vile, he's become a national disgrace for Republican rallies in so many ways, and that's why you're seeing a sharp divide within the GOP party, and they've parted ways and they've distanced themselves from him.
I want to ask you about that because we now know that former President George H.W. Bush voted for Hillary Clinton. George W. Bush said he left his ballot blank but did not vote for Donald Trump. Your two previous nominees, John McCain and Mitt Romney, both did not vote for Donald Trump. How much did that hurt you?
It doesn't help, and it's very personally disappointing, even though I respect all four of the people you just mentioned. And the irony for Donald Trump is he's been able to grow this party in places and among voter groups without having the full support of some of these elected officials.
Donald Trump will win the state of Florida. According to the Fox News decision desk, he will win the 29 electoral votes in Florida. A very tight race, but he is pulling that off. As you can see, the crowds outside here cheering. 49% to 47% right now, but we can project that he is going to win Florida. That means he has won Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio.
These guys are going nuts. There is so much confidence here tonight. They were nervous, obviously, before the polls closed. Tonight, they're very confident.
This was the one that for the last month, the Clinton folks said, if we win Florida, it's all over. Donald Trump absolutely needed it. He got it. And now, as we've talked about, he has many different ways to get to the 270 votes he needs to be the next president of the United States.
Wolf, the scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed. I have been looking around the room at people who are stone-faced. Some of them have been crying. We have seen people leaving the venue, including some who have been sitting on the risers behind the podium where Hillary Clinton is supposed to speak. There are people who are just in shock. I've seen mouths open as folks here in the audience are watching the results come in, many of them with their arms crossed and a hand to their mouth. They are just stunned as they watch what is going on here.
When we first got here about 3 or 4 hours ago, this mood in the room was pretty lackluster. This room wasn't full at all. We were questioning, where is everybody? Where is everybody? Now it's totally full. The supporters behind me, as you can see, have broken out in chants of USA, USA, are booing the Clinton campaign when they show up on the monitors behind us. The bars are open.
At this point, if he wins Michigan,
It's done.
it's done. He's there.
Prior to that, he had been hemorrhaging in the polls, right? We had the Access Hollywood, we had all the female accusers come out. Prior to that, it was the Alicia Machado thing, and there was just all sorts of traps, so the debates didn't help him. The numbers were not on his side, but there was a shift a couple of weeks before this election night, and from the look of it, she never recovered.
Glass ceiling here was no accident. That was the metaphor that she was supposed to have shattered. And of course, absolutely none of it has happened, and they really can't quite believe it. They thought early in the night they could knock Trump out by winning Florida. That would make it impossible, but they failed to do that.
Nate Silver is joining us right now. And Nate, a pretty dramatic change in your forecast now.
Well, it's not about our forecast. It's about the fact that we haven't had any swing states called yet, and those are states that Clinton was supposed to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Those states are all correlated, meaning that if you have problems with white working class voters, if you don't turn out African Americans, then you potentially lose those states or win by a razor-thin margin. I mean, she is in profound trouble right now in the Electoral College.
You're looking at the battleground states right now, the states in blue, Hillary Clinton, states in red, Donald Trump. And in the remaining states, Donald Trump has numeric leads in just about all of them.
CNN now projects that Donald Trump will carry the state of Wisconsin. He will win Wisconsin with its 10 electoral votes. He's cracked the so-called blue wall.
President Trump may be something that everybody needs to get used to, including the Republican Party. And I have to say here's three people, smart minds in the Republican Party, and I think we all thought it couldn't happen, that he couldn't do this on the power of white voters alone, that he couldn't do what he did, and guess what? He may just do it. Mike Murphy, what did you miss?
Oh, boy, I missed a lot. Under the normal rules of politics, he couldn't put it together, but he's broken the normal rules and he's getting votes he shouldn't get at a huge level among white America, where partisanship doesn't seem to have the same glue. States like Wisconsin, which are full of white Democrats who apparently in big numbers are voting for him.
Does Bernie Sanders lose Wisconsin? Anybody?
A complete earthquake. This was an earthquake unlike any earthquake I've really seen since Ronald Reagan in 1980. It just came out of nowhere.
I don't know why anyone should be surprised that people, the media, the polls have been wrong again. I think this has just been a very, very incredibly unpredictable election. Donald Trump obviously knew something that a lot of people didn't.
What are you hearing tonight? What are you reading?
Well, let's just cut to the chase. Assuming, and that's what we're talking about, that he does win. People I'm speaking to think it's absolutely catastrophic, that it's catastrophic for the United States, that it's catastrophic for our position in the world.
This is a modern-day political miracle you're witnessing before your eyes right now, and that is to go up against everybody and all the pundits and all the pollsters and all the prognosticators out there and defy all the odds, and it's the American people that have said enough is enough.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare. It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared. And then you have this outcome, and you have people putting children to bed tonight, and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of, how do I explain this to my children?
Huge news, actually. The AP now projecting that Donald Trump has won the state of Pennsylvania.
That is the race, frankly. There is no path forward for Hillary Clinton.
We are going to make this decision now. The Fox News decision desk has called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States, winning the most unreal, surreal election we have ever seen.
Everybody should head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow.
CNN can report that Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
The president-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Hillary has worked very long and very hard over a long period of time, and we owe her a major debt of gratitude for her service to our country. I mean that very sincerely. Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time.
How improbable is this, what we're seeing right now, that Donald Trump has defeated Hillary Clinton to become president-elect of the United States?
There has never been anyone elected to the presidency of this country who had not at least served in government or the military before. He is as much of an outsider as possible.
Hillary Clinton was brutally repudiated tonight, and Donald Trump's most populist arguments, rough as they were embraced.
Thank you all. I know how disappointed you feel because I feel it too. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it. This loss hurts, but please never stop believing that fighting for what's right is worth it.
The entire world woke up stunned by the Trump win. Once again, Americans had turned down a third term for the incumbent party in the White House. Trump received 304 electoral votes to Clinton's 227, but Clinton received nearly 3 million more popular votes. 3 traditional blue firewall states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, collapsed for Clinton, costing her the election. A shift of fewer than 80,000 votes in those 3 states would have made Clinton president. One thing was certain based on the popular vote, Trump had no mandate.
Well, I just had the opportunity to have an excellent conversation with President-elect Trump.
At the White House after the election, President Obama welcomed the Trumps. The country's first black president was coming to terms with the reality that his replacement, who he had mocked just 5 years ago and who had questioned his citizenship, would soon be taking his place.
As I said last night, my number one priority in the coming 2 months is to try to facilitate a transition that ensures our president-elect is successful.
On January 6, 2017, Vice President Joe Biden fulfilled his constitutional duty overseeing the counting of electoral votes, proclaiming the man who had defeated his friend Hillary Clinton the official president of the United States.
Donald Trump of New York has received, for president of the United States, 304 votes. Hillary Clinton, the state of New York, has received 227 votes.
The president-elect decided to take the advice of advisor Steve Bannon and portray America in its darkest days.
It's called the American Carnage speech. You know, maybe we should have realized in writing it that would be the takeaway line. Our whole thing was to build up with the president about how the elites had not taken action, that the country had gotten to this thing, and the punchline was, now comes the hour of action. Boom, you lead down to that, hit with the hour of action, and then Trump talks to what he's going to do. Obviously, we had the American Carnage line in there.
Despite the economy being in far better shape than what Obama had inherited from his predecessor George W. Bush, Trump aimed to paint a picture of a country in decline. On January 20th, 2017, there would be no comparisons to the uplifting inaugural speeches of John F. Kennedy or Ronald Reagan. America was broken, and only Trump could save us.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation. An education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge. And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
Speak with clarity, 'cause there's too much noise around us. Or maybe it's just me. There's treasure in the sea, yeah, but I'm just too dry to reach it. So speak
If you enjoyed the documentary, please give it a thumbs up, and consider supporting more documentaries by pushing the thanks button below. Thank you for watching the Jim Heath channel.